for the National Society of Professional Engineers. They are an organization dedicated to protecting engineers in the public from unqualified practitioners, builds public recognition for the engineering profession, and stands against unethical practices. One way NSPE stands against unethical practices is with their Code of Ethics. Now, engineers are constantly making decisions that are going to impact people's lives, and hopefully they're going to do this in an ethical way. The Code of Ethics is essentially a detailed list with descriptions of how engineers should perform their job to behave in an ethical manner. Now that we know what NSPE is and what the Code of Ethics is, we can start talking about iRobot. Specifically, Little Lost Robot, a story within iRobot. Now, within iRobot, it is crucial to understand that there are 3 fundamental laws of robotics that every engineer must follow when designing a robot. Now, the one we're going to focus on today is the first law of robotics, which says that a robot may not harm a human being or, through inaction, cause a human being to come to harm. Now, Little Lost Robot takes place on a space station called the Hyperbase. It is composed of NS2 or Nestor robots and engineers and physicists. Oftentimes, these engineers and physicists would have to expose themselves to moderate gamma radiation to complete their job. However, oftentimes Nestor robots would be nearby and immediately detect that the humans were in danger and pull them out of the radiation. Now, the workers actually had a 30-minute window where they could expose themselves without having any negative health effects. However, even when they explained this to the robots, they did not understand and they continued to pull the workers out of the radiation. Now, because this happened so frequently, the workers were not able to complete their tasks. Now, to solve this problem, the government actually issued a modification for some of the Nestor robots. The engineers at the Hyperbase decided to modify one of the Nestor robots. This modification had to do with the first law. This modification stated that a robot may not injure a human being. Now, this modification leaves off part of the first law. It leaves off the part that says, a robot may not allow a human being to come to harm through their inaction. Now, for the workers exposing themselves to radiation, they would be able to expose themselves without this robot coming in and pulling them out. However, the problem with this is they violated the fundamental rules of robotics. On top of this, they also violated the Code of Ethics. Now, in Section 3 of the Code of Ethics, it states that engineers shall not complete, sign, or seal plans that are not in conformity with applicable engineering standards. The engineering standards for all engineers in iRobot are the 3 fundamental rules of robotics. And these engineers at the Hyperbase violated this fundamental law. They were acting in an unethical way. They should not have modified this robot. On top of being unethical, they also ran into some problems. After this modification, this robot went offline and they were unable to detect the robot's location. This became a problem because they were worried about the robot. They were worried about people finding out that they had modified the first law. They had to go through a bunch of strenuous tests to find that modified robot. Now, if they had abided by the Code of Ethics and the fundamental rules of robotics, they would not have ran into this problem. They could have come up with another solution that abided by all 3 rules of robotics, the engineering standards set before them. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.